taking a leak. Can I come up there?
Yeah, come on up. And keep those hands moving. We've got Michael Rosenbaum from Smallville. And then you get Fan Garland, I guess. Welcome, boy. You guys can sit down. It's have a seat.
Hey guys. Hello everyone.
Thank you, John, for coming out when you did. I didn't know how much more song and dance.
You needed help.
It was getting to that point where I don't normally like to let you all in on what's going on backstage, but these guys had to go for a pee, and it was quite the long pee.
Well, we went in one of those single stalls.
Right.
So I had to go, and then
Too
Tom
much information.
Well, Tom was harassing me outside, and then he had to go in.
We believe in the buddy system here at Wizard World Austin.
I have it on audio, actually, that you don't. No, I was talking to my friend Jess to help me with flights, and I was talking to Ron, and all of a sudden you hear, Rosenbaum! It's you. I'll play it later.
Well, welcome to Austin, guys. You know the drill. We're gonna have some folks ask some questions. You guys are gonna answer the questions. We can dive right in if you're ready to do this. Gonna do it?
Do you have to pee again?
Not yet.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
Got 30 seconds now.
Well, you're appropriately dressed, so you're a good person to start with. Hi.
Is this on?
Are you a fan of Smallville or Superman?
Smallville.
Come on, I'm kidding. Look at what she's wearing.
I just binge watched the entire 10 seasons again.
You just, again?
Again, yes.
And your microphone's not on.
It's not on. I can talk loud though. Can you hear me?
Okay, you can project, or Rosebaum's gonna go out there and help you with the mic.
My text is working.
Hello? What the hell's wrong? Check, 1, 2. What's wrong with this? Need a new battery. Well, do we have a technician here?
I think you're it, actually. At this point, you've now adopted the responsibility.
I think I got it. Hello?
Hello? Oh, here, come up here and use this mic.
Yeah.
Here.
Well, everybody's gonna come face to face with you, John. Do you want
This is about to
Better have a
rain.
question for John at this point.
This is actually nice. I like this.
Thank you, Michael.
Is this one working? Oh,
It
yeah.
is, yes.
Okay.
This is good.
Welcome.
You get a mic.
Hello.
I've already met kind of all of y'all already, but what I would like to ask you is, as a retired teacher, I am always curious to know, was there a teacher or a mentor or someone in your life that really inspired you?
John, you want to start?
Yes,
Have your mic. I'll go.
I had several, just like I have here now. One was in high school, one was in college, and then one was after I started getting lazy about being an actor, that really brought some change to me. His name was Milton Katselas. He was a famous Scientologist, but he was a brilliant teacher, and when I started studying with him, people used to call up my partner and say, "So is John a Scientologist now?" But I wasn't there. I just became a better actor and a better person for him. Okay, thank you.
John, while Michael's working on the tech situation.
Do I have to work for Wizard? Do I have to do it?
John, thank you for having a really great answer that I can't.
All right, you can go sit down. Your question was asked. I wasn't listening. I was fixing the mic.
Your favorite teacher?
I love it. My favorite T-shirt?
Teacher.
My favorite teacher was a guy by the name of D. Whitney Combs. He was very theatrical and loved the theater. And I remember the first day.
What did he sound like when he spoke?
John Glover?
No, what did Mr. DW?
D. Whitney Combs? You're not talking to the mic. They can't hear you.
What did he sound like?
He sounded like this. I remember in Basic Techniques of Acting, he said, I was wearing this baseball cap, and he goes, "Excuse me, Mr. Rosenbaum." And I stopped at the door, and he goes, "Do you really want to do this?" And I said, "What?" "Do you really want to act?" because I don't have time for those that don't want to be here. And I said,
It's actually coming.
turn it off, we don't need it! Christ. And I said to him, I said, yeah, I love acting. And he said, we'll see. He did, and I had to prove it to him, and he became my best friend. He ended up passing away, and but he was the one after college that actually called people to try and get me meetings and things, and I never thought it was gonna happen. He goes, did you try Becky Baker? Call Becky Baker. You know Becky and Dylan Baker?
Yes, I do.
He says, call them. They're great actors. They've been in tons of stuff. And I called these people, and they go, I just was being funny. I left a message on their machine. Hey, why don't you guys come over? I'll make you ramen noodles, because I'm broke, and I live in an apartment with 4 guys. And they call me back laughing. They go, why don't you come to our house for dinner? And I went there, and then we hit it off, and they made a call, and so things started happening.
Nice.
I got nothing. No, I mean, I really feel like when I got Smallville, I didn't have any experience, and I think I learned a lot from you guys. I think you guys helped me, like you very much helped me on a day-to-day basis working together, understanding what it was, what we were doing, and then the standard that you set was so high that, like, here's the thing about John Glover, and I would say this, it'd be easier to say this if you weren't here. You can't just waltz into a scene with John Glover. Like, he's gonna bring it, he's awesome, and it's fun. And it was always fun for me when I knew I had a scene with you. And I remember one time we were doing something, there was a blocking or something, and you were being very gracious and generous. But there was a pivotal moment where I forgot my line. I'm like, what's the line again? And you go, you don't know your lines. And I went, well, not yet, we're just blocking. And you go, weren't they written for you? You said it with such humor and love. And you go, weren't they written for you? And I'm like, well, yeah, John, just give me a second, we're not even rolling the camera yet. And you're like, had you read them before? It made me relax a little bit more. But I learned a lot from these guys. John Schneider. Annette O'Toole made me cry in a scene that I wasn't supposed to cry in.
You know what was with John, by the way? John was the only actor on set that if something was bothering him beforehand, before he got into a scene, it shows you the experience he has and the professionalism, because he'd walk in and you wouldn't think anything. I mean, something tragic could have happened, and John walks in and like, this is what we're doing, this is the scene. And where we would come in like, oh, this thing with this girl. I don't even want to be in. I was like, okay, let's do this. And John would force you, without saying anything, to listen, to focus. And that's experience, and that's talent. So we thank you.
It's true. It's why we're all here today. This is really a panel about John Glover. We're all here. We love you. Okay, here's another lesson that I learned from John Glover. I remember exactly where we were. We were on the side, like, sort of back door of the kitchen in the Kent Farm interior, whatever. And like, you know, you walk in and
How did Lionel Luther get into your kitchen?
I don't remember what the scene was.
How did
about.
Clark get in the castle? How did everybody get in
I
the
don't know
castle?
what the scene was about. But I'm looking at you and the door's behind you and you're talking to me and you took a beat. And I was young and stupid and I kind of said your line to help you out because I think he used to help me. He used to help me out. And you go, thank you. I was acting. And I was like, oh! And then we just carried on. Like, it was very sweet the way that I learned that lesson.
Yeah.
I'm a sweetheart, I guess.
I would have said something smart ass to piss him off, like, well, take a shorter beat. Right? I would have pissed you off.
Exactly.
Do you remember that scene in the first season where I was freaking out and I had to throw all this shit off the library, and I'm throwing shit, I'm pissed off, and I'm angry and all this. And I just wasn't working. I was exhausted after a few takes. And John was he was kind of just there going. And I go, guys, I need 5 minutes. I need to take 5 minutes. I need 5 minutes to myself. I don't know. Because I just remember an acting coach was like, take 5 minutes. It's your time. Breathe. Think. And John just walked up. Son. He didn't say Michael. He said, son, just just listen to your father. Just listen to what I'm saying. And just talk to me during the scene. That's it. And I go, I wasn't listening. That's the thing. I go, no, we're ready. Let's go. No, let's go now. I swear to God. You remember this? And I go, let's go. And action. One take, done. Perfect. I wasn't listening to him. And it was a little thing that all actors forget. The most important thing is to listen. What'd you say?
What'd you say?
Do I have time to speak now?
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry, we're loving you.
Yes. The answer is yes.
We love you, John.
Okay. Where'd you go? He never comes through with it. Tease. He's the tease. The biggest tease in the world. The biggest tease in the world. Are you not finding this out? Yeah?
There's children!
Spell tease.
M-I.
Next question then?
Next question, sir.
Where'd the mic go?
Go ahead, buddy.
Stealing everything.
See, this is what it's like to be on a set with Michael. Chaos, chaos, chaos.
All right, so this question's actually for Tom.
Oh.
I heard you talking earlier, discussing the lack of knowledge in comic before you took the role in Smallville.
Yeah.
What was kind of your deciding factor on accepting that role ultimately?
Once I read the script, I was like, oh, this isn't a story about Superman in high school. It's about a kid and his identity and trying to figure out his role and where he fit in the world and who he, is there destiny? Is there... I just thought there was so much more in it. I saw it as a kid in high school. And then it was a pretty easy thing when people were like, when Martian Manhunter came in, I was like, who? And they're like, you don't know who Martian Manhunter is? I'm like, no, dude, that's a horrible name. Who is that? He's this dude from another planet who has like the same powers as like Superman and stuff. But the scenes are real because when he's discussing these things with Clark, I have no idea what he's talking about. So it really helped not understanding or not having the knowledge. Yeah.
Okay.
We're clapping for you, sir. Very good question.
Hello. How's it going, guys? Make sure I
You
get
can lower the mic. It's just a screw thing right at the
super
bottom.
boy, so yeah. I'm not...
Stand on your toes.
There you go. Go ahead, sir.
All right. So love you guys. Thank you so much for coming and making this like a big deal. Like this has been a dream come true, like Comic-Con wise, like for Smallville fans. So I appreciate that. All right. So I was
Why
just
is everyone sitting down? Did someone tell you?
I did. Yeah, I did.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, because you know what happens, Tom, is if they're all standing, then
Blocks.
the people over there cannot see.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Question answered.
Really?
But so as much as I want to see a revival Smallville movie, I know logistically like schedules and whatnot, might not be feasible. But we have two great talented voice actors, or actors in general, Michael with Flash, and John with the Riddler is one of my favorites, and Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain, as I found out yesterday. So,
I'm hot shit.
you are, sir. You are.
Yes.
But anyways, Tom, I looked through your credits, didn't see any voiceover work. So I was wondering, CW has a track record of doing these animated type revival little shorts.
I think it'd be fun to animate the Smallville comic book series that continued after the show. I think that'd be fun.
Yeah. I was wondering if John and Michael had if you had to talk to Tom or maybe give him advice for transferring over.
Being a voice actor.
Yeah.
I'm not really a voice actor, but I just lucked onto those jobs. But Michael's very talented with his voice. He can do all kinds of imitations.
I never left my room in high school. That's why. I really didn't. I used to, these stories, but I used to, but I'd stare at my TV while other popular kids out there, I wasn't popular, and I'd sit there and, I'd hear the guy from Jaws, and he's like, no creature has survived millions of years of evolution without fear, without change, without magic. It is as though God created the devil, and gave him Joe. And I would sit there and memorize my mom. Goes, turn the damn TV off. Do something else. Go see some friends. See some nature. She didn't even talk like that. What am I? But I would say I'm surprised. That's the first time I've heard he hasn't done any animation or whatever. But I'm doing an animated show that I'm working on. Me and Harlan Williams, a very funny comedian. You know the guy in
Yeah.
it was in Sorority Boys, but no one saw that except you guys, which thank you. But
People audition for that kind of stuff?
no, but he was the guy, remember in Dumb and Dumber, you guys drinking on some Krampus cough medicine there? You'd shut your mouth if you knew it was good for you, pumpkin pie. That guy. But like, there's a role, and you know, if I'm doing something, I want to bring Tom, and I always think of Tom, I always think of my friends. So just the advice is like, be yourself. If you have a great director like we have, like Andrea Romano, she is able to, like, if you give a reading, I've never seen anything like it. How would you describe Andrea Romano, who directed Justice League? And
Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Does she
Incredibly
adjust the tone?
Should say, Tom, slow that line down. So let's say you had the line of like, I've got cream cheese in my socks. It just came to me, I don't know. She'd say, slow it down, like you love cream cheese. I've got cream cheese in my socks. Yes, but, and she would keep like just fast, great, a little faster in the end, boom, and before you know, you're like, wow, and it's fun.
The cream cheese or the...
Yeah, the cream cheese. Thanks, buddy.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
It's gotta be the worst recording ever. He's like, so anyway, it's like, geez, we on a roller coaster, kid?
Okay, my question is for both Tom Welling and John Glover. And I just, sorry,
You hurt his feelings.
sorry, I just
say you wanted.
Sorry, I just wanted to ask how it was filming the episode where the characters Lionel, Woofor, and Clark sort of like swapped, brains or something because of the kryptonite.
Tom played me brilliantly. He was brilliant. I had trouble playing him because he's so strong and didn't have to. I just had to make it complicated, but Clark's not complicated.
There's the quick little story, Transference. It's one of my favorite episodes. And one of the things about playing Lionel has movements and gestures and things that you can sort of use and show the audience very quickly, oh, they've switched bodies because look at the way he's moving and its tone. Clark doesn't do a lot. And I don't know if you remember this, we were shooting at this like mental institution, which was also prison or whatever in the movie.
It was mental.
And I had gotten there and you were in a scene before me and they asked me to come to set, you wanted to talk to me. And I was like, okay, and you were behind the bars in this cage. And you're like, Tom, thank God you're here. I'm like, what's going on? And you're behind the bars. And you're like, how do you do this? I go, this is John Glover. The fact that he's asking me a question about, I was like, and he's like, how do you play Clark? And I go, well, just don't complicate it. Like, Clark doesn't do a lot. Just sort of like, be there. That's the best I can do. And he goes, I can't do that. I complicate everything.
I did not know how.
It was very interesting.
Oh yeah.
That's one of my favorite. People ask me Smallville, the pilot and Transference, because it was such a stretch for me, and it was such something new for me to do that I really enjoyed it. I think it turned out really well.
He did cocky so good. He just was cocky. Yeah. So he'll always be cocky for me.
I have to say this about Tom, and he's pretty modest, but we, as great as John is, and I'm all right, but we had time to work on our scenes and really work things out in terms of preparation before we got on the day. This is a guy who was in every scene for 10 years straight, who didn't have time to go, all right, let's dissect this scene. Let's say we had 3 or 4 scenes in a show together, or a couple. We had time, a week to, all right, I'm gonna say this, learn those lines, whatever. Tom is every morning, he has to wake up and literally he has to sleep. He can't learn his lines the night before. He's learning them in the trailer. He's just like, he's nonstop. And that takes a talent to me that I don't think I could handle that. I really don't think I could handle what he did. Maybe it was part of being younger, maybe it was part of being so enthusiastic, but with not a lot of acting credits in his, I thought he did a superb job.
Well, the flip side of that is I played a character your characters were always coming to my character with information and knowledge or questions. So your preparations as we got into scenes, asking me what's going on, I didn't always know what's going on.
Neither did I. You think I did?
You're like, what's the meaning to all of this? What's this crystal for? I have no idea what that crystal's for. I don't even like holding it. I don't like being seen with it. I don't know what it is.
I feel so bad when fans come up to me and go, in that episode where you did this and that, and I go, I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. You know, Christopher Walken actually said that. He says, I don't read scripts. You're gonna find out what happens in the movie. So, I don't read them.
You don't always know. Wow, I say that.
Good. It's good.
Your character usually doesn't know what's supposed to happen next. And you can break down a script and give yourself sort of a roadmap to prepare for that. But sometimes it's better not knowing what the result is going to be.
Thank you, sir.
That answers your question not at all.
He's like, can I sit down now? Encyclopedic answer to that.
Hi, how are you?
Hello.
Hi.
That's one way to do it.
I like her. Look at a stand-up comedian just taking the mic out.
Okay, so my question is, I forgot it.
You don't-
Okay. Anyway,
You wrote it down. Just read it. Read it. Go in your pocket. There you go. No notes anymore.
You don't have to say who the question's for.
Remember when we used to
okay,
write?
it's for all of y'all, so.
Oh, all of alls.
I'll give y'all.
All y'all.
I'll give y'all.
By the way, real quick, where's Konnichiwa? Is she here? Where? I don't see Konnichiwa.
That's right there in the purple.
John, I know you
Right
weren't
there.
there. Where? Konnichiwa!
She flew from Japan last night.
Last night to see us.
Anybody who was at the cocktail party definitely remembers. She doesn't know it, but her and Michael are engaged.
Engaged and probably traumatized now.
She's a
Why is
beautiful
this strange
person.
man launching himself at me for a hug? But you've got your question ready to go now, right?
Yes, okay. So what are some quirks and other things that you learned about each other that you never really expected you would learn?
I can tell you something I learned real quick about Michael and myself was he's able to be like this, and then they roll the cameras and he could go right into Lex. I learned really quick I couldn't do that with Clark.
And I couldn't do that with Lionel either.
It's a different process of focus, and it's just process.
But and in the beginning, Michael used to drive me crazy because he effed around a lot, you know.
And it can be a distraction.
But I realized that he was being Lex for me. So so those little moments of frustration that I felt with Lex were really me feeling with Michael.
I didn't know you were so frustrated. You know what's funny too? To throw him back at John.
Dad.
In the pilot, he knows this. I've told this story, but if you haven't heard it, John on the pilot, I was so intimidated by him. I was like, he doesn't like me. He's like this Tony Award-winning actor. I just, fuck man, he doesn't like me. Am I failing? I don't know what I'm doing. Am I not doing the job? And then later on, I was like, I just felt like he didn't like me. He's like, what do you mean? I was a nervous wreck. I get insecure. That wasn't the case anyway. It's not always about you. You know what I mean? Just because he's doing something, it's his.
You know what you mean?
Yeah, it's his preparation. It's your preparation. And I thought it was directed at me, and that wasn't the case. Was it?
You bet your ass.
Listen, it's like trying to go play, hey, come on over here, somebody wants to play basketball with you, and you show up and you're playing with Michael Jordan. And you want to be good, and they're really being nice to you, but that's how he is.
I can't even dribble.
Oh, yeah, you can. Just kidding, that was a joke. No, it was a basketball reference. I've seen him play basketball. Next question. Thank you, guys.
Such a liar.
By the way, good question.
Very good question.
Okay, I got it. Hi.
Hey, buddy.
Hello.
Okay, so this is for my dad, because I gotta put him on the spot.
You have a question
Where's
for
your dad?
your
Raise your hand, Dad. Hey, pup. How you doing?
Do you have a question for your dad?
Yeah,
What
because
did
he
you
didn't
want
want
to
to
ask
come
your
up here.
father?
Yes.
But he wanted to ask, earlier into the beginning of Smallville, I believe, when, gosh dang it. Superman and Lex Luthor were still like friends, do you think if Superman were to like show his identity, do you think it would have gone like a different path than being like super sworn in?
Yes.
Yeah. The tragic thing I think that's fun to watch about Smallville is I think Lex would have understood. But then the show would be over.
But he didn't.
But he didn't.
Yeah.
But I think if anybody would understand being different and weird and alienated and disliked, it would be Lex Luthor.
I think it would have. I think what would have happened is Clark would have told me the secret at a stage where, wow, he trusts me, he confided in me, we're friends, I'm not evil, and it's that guy who probably would have. We would have been fighting him, so the whole mythology would have changed. That would have been cool. Could you imagine us together? That story, like we're friends and we get in fights and whatever, but we're like, look, I got the brains, you got the brawn. Let's figure this out, and then we gotta.
That sounds like a band. That's like a song.
That is a song. What song is that?
Brains, I got the brawn. That's a song.
What song is that?
Let's do it.
Make money? No.
Pet Shop Boys.
Pet Shop Boys. Yes, thank you.
You got the brains, I got the brawn.
I think it's.
Let's
body,
make
though.
lots of money.
Looks, yeah. But wait, you don't think there's any temptation that he could have corrupted Clark?
Oh, I'm not saying it wouldn't have been corrupted, but I agree that Lionel is the one who would really. I think Lex might try to protect Clark a little bit.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thanks. Good question.
Good question,
that
Dad.
Kid's dad.
Good question.
You get no credit. Hi, how are you?
Good job.
This is for John. What was it like working on Gremlins 2?
Yeah.
There you go.
It was divine.
What did you like about it, though? What was so great about
I
it?
love the little creatures.
Did you ever sneak up and just pour a little water on one of them? Like off camera?
I did it all the time.
What about working with Christopher Lee in the film?
I'm sorry, what?
Christopher Lee.
Yes, he was in it.
Yeah,
Did you like working with him?
Any reactions? or thoughts?
You know, I have worked with some amazing people in my time, and I've been so fortunate. But they're all
Thank you,
divine.
John. Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, hang on. Do you have
I
any
have
gadgets?
nothing funny to say about any of them. I had dinner with Vincent Price a couple of times.
Whoa.
Whoa!
Yeah.
Talk about that.
Is that true what they say?
Everything they say about him is true.
Wait, did he cook? Did he make? Because he was a gourmand.
Oh, the bitch could bake.
I think that's actually on his headstone.
I have nothing else to say.
I kind of want to know about this.
Later.
Hey, did you keep any Gremlins toys in your house? Did you get anything from set? From any movies that like you were in? Batman and Robin?
Just the goo when I put the one through the paper shredder.
Oh!
See? Yeah, very good. Yeah.
And you know who was on the set that day watching me turn
Who?
with Chevy Chase?
What?
Yeah, he came to visit the set that day.
Was he
There
cool?
Chevy. He never said word one to me. I thought it was very rude.
Was he just into Gremlins?
You know, maybe he'll bring the
I
goo
don't
to
know
one of these
why he was
conventions and
there.
give you
He
some of
just
this
showed
goo.
up and watched me do the scene right with the gremlin and the paper shredder.
Do you still have the goo?
Well, I ate most of it.
Oh, sorry, Frank.
Thank you. Thank you for that question.
You're welcome.
Next time we just need like a Gremlins 2 or just a John Glover panel retrospective. We need to
Well, see,
talk about all
I
of it.
should think there should be a Gremlins 3 now, where Daniel Clamp, who I was supposed to be, what's his face, is now the president, and he puts all the little gremlins in his cabinet. That's sort of what's happening.
By the way, I was lucky enough to interview him. He came on the podcast finally. And he was fantastic. So if you haven't heard me interview him, we get deep. He goes everywhere. He's brilliant, and it was a lot of fun. You had fun, didn't you?
I had a ball, but you'll know things about me you wish you didn't.
Yeah, that's fine.
All right, never mind.
Hello, how are you?
Hi.
Bless you.
Bless you.
Yeah.
Bless you, miss, back there.
I love your coat.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hand sewed the whole thing myself.
That's amazing.
I don't know how to use a sewing machine.
Hey, you did well.
Well, how are your hands? Did you wear a thimble?
No.
Thimble?
No, I did not.
Oh, you fool.
Hence the Band-Aid.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean that personally. Next time you do that, wear a thimble and you will save your fingertips.
That's fair.
I learned that from my mother.
What's your question?
We're laughing at John, but
John's doing just fine. Freshman year of college, I wrote a paper which at the time was titled Why Parts of Smallville Are Big Dumb, and my professor renamed it The Villainization of Mentally Ill People in Modern Media.
Wow.
And I just wanted to know your guys' opinion on some of the villains in Smallville, like Lex, if you think they're like truly evil or if they're redeemable at all.
No, they're human. And that, until a certain point in Smallville, was what the characters were. Well, there were a few bit too many superpowers come, and then because it wasn't real, really. Because he's the special boy. So I kept wondering, why did so many other people have superpowers? Because it didn't make him as special. What are they talking about?
No, I'm telling him the question because he was thinking about himself for a second.
No, that's not true. I didn't. No, I was.
Did you get
I was wondering about the character you're talking about, or people. Do people innately are they evil in life, or like were you talking about the character? So I felt like people aren't innately evil but you're a product of your own environment and circumstance, and I think that's what triggers people to go off the deep end sometimes. Combined with mental illness and things that are out of their control, or they refuse to get help to help control. If that makes any sense. Sorry.
Pretty good answer. I didn't say that.
But didn't you think that most of the characters in Smallville were human beings?
Yeah.
Because I think they sort of meant Lionel in the beginning to be just a mean father. But I think there's more than that.
Yeah.
I mean, I gave him shock treatment to make him a stronger person. I got very upset when I gave it to him, even though I said give him a second shot. But it was very painful for me.
How about the straitjacket? You put me in a straitjacket.
It's for your own good.
Well, you need it. You would have hurt yourself. Self-abuse. I mean,
You know what's funny is he sells it. That scene. I don't know what year season it was, but I'm in the straitjacket. And I can't see him. It's one of those one-way mirrors.
Season 4.
See, thank you.
Thank you.
Nerd! And John, his performance, he goes up there, and he just looks like emotional almost. Like, I didn't want this to happen. Like, you almost feel bad for him in a way.
No, you did feel bad for me in a way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Right? Okay, thank you. I need support a little.
We are running down on time. Thank you.
God.
Great, good question. We only have time for like maybe two more questions.
Speed round. And last
you want to do speed round?
Listen,
Okay.
by the way, Tom and I do a Smallville Nights. I hope you're going tonight. It's a really cool little intimate thing. We do stuff that Tom will never do, but we do some readings and they're amazing and you should come. And it's
Things that we wouldn't do here.
We would not do here that you should go, but there's no cameras, there's no anything. It's just us if you want to come.
Then I could streak it tonight if you did.
You can run through if you want.
Right. Streak it right through.
Streak
Okay.
it naked?
Oh, yeah.
That's
my
a
God.
streaking.
That's a streak, yeah.
All right, let's go fast. I want these people to get some questions. Quick round. We're going to go fast. Go.
All right. What's y'all's final thoughts on the finale of the show?
Finale of the show. I wasn't in it. I did end up. I was in it. I watched it. I didn't know what was going on, but I thought it was kind of interesting. And Tom.
I think it worked. The idea was we wanted you to feel like Clark had finally leaped to that next stage. You couldn't go with him, but you knew he was out there. And I hope you guys think that came across.
I was covered with sticky blood for most of it, so I was very uncomfortable with season 10.
Cool. Next question. Go ahead. Get on your knees. All right. I'm gonna go through.
Well, I wanted to show you something real quick. Like, I was born with an S on my knuckle, but I didn't know how you felt about it because I already showed everybody else, as you can see.
Oh wow, your little Smallville S.
Yeah, or the House of L. I don't know.
That's beautiful.
I felt bad showing it to you because you're Lex, and I was like, oh man, please don't. Try to kill me with kryptonite or something.
No, I think it's beautiful. I could show you. I have a scar.
No.
I'm sorry. Yeah, thanks, man. Bye, buddy.
Was there any souvenirs you guys got to keep or walked off the set with?
Tom has nothing. Go ahead, John.
Michael got all my hair that they shaved off me, so he got that. He sold it all because he's
entrepreneur.
I got the President of the United States. I got two of them, two suits. One's in a museum in Kentucky where I went to school, and I have the other. And I have like a Zod's trench coat.
You know Zod. I am Zod. I had that trench. I had some
Don't
shirts.
climb on the fan.
Sorry, I apologize. I have a bunch of signed stuff and things. Yeah, but it's on somewhere else, not at my house.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Thank you so much. Thanks for listening to the podcast. They're both on it.
It was interesting watching the dynamic over the years
Right.
of
Speed
y'all,
round.
y'all would hate each other, y'all would love each other, you'd marry his girlfriend. Did the dynamic on set ever change based on how if y'all are hitting each other, y'all yelling, or like did that ever fluctuate
Tom?
over the years?
No, we kind of just had fun.
We always loved each other.
We did. We always loved the We really did. I pissed him off. I didn't annoy him. They didn't annoy me. Whatever. But when I was mad, if Tom was in a bad mood, and I came on set and I was pissed at something, it'd make his day. Right?
There's nothing better when you're in a bad mood.
And that was often.
That somebody else is in a worse mood.
Season 3, I wasn't very happy with some shit going on. Yeah. Okay, next. Go ahead. Hi.
My question is for you.
All right. Yeah, go ahead, baby. Well, you're that close to me. I might as well speak it.
Dream guest for the podcast.
Dream guest of the podcast, Gary Oldman. I'm close to getting Oldman. Keanu Reeves is close. I love Reeves. Yeah. Dude, Tom and I used to do Keanu Reeves all the time. I go, Clark. I need you to help me now. I need you that again. We used to do it constantly. Go ahead. Oh, you already answered that.
So working with Christopher Reeve, all of you guys, did you guys get any inspiration off him on set?
Tom.
Yeah, totally. I mean, not only was it awesome to meet him, but when I worked with him, obviously he was paralyzed, and his performance still resonated in a way that I'd never seen before. I mean, you know, we get to use our hands and our faces and do all these things, and he doesn't have any of those tools from a performance standpoint. And it was really just humbling and inspiring, and he could have been nicer. And sorry, 1 second.
Thank you so much. I didn't get to work with him, but I met him. He's a wonderful
Dad,
human
I gotta
being.
call you back. I'm doing a panel. There's like 6,000 people. All right, Dad, love you.
The show.
Okay, bye. My dad says hi.
Go ahead, talk.
The show that hadn't ended. Will you do one more season of Smallville?
What would we do?
Animated.
We're too old now.
Speak for your damn self.
What happened to Lionel? That's interesting.
I think an animated series
Is he
is
a
genius,
quitter?
and I think people would watch. I don't know why. What? This guy randomly goes, one more.
Okay, well,
I have a
for
question.
that
Go
guy,
ahead.
sure.
In the last episode, did you wear any part of the Superman suit, or was it all CGI?
I had a version of a shirt that I am wearing what you see, and not anything more than what you see.
All right.
No, it wasn't like we borrowed it from the movies or anything. It was its own thing. Yeah.
And you guys have a panel, you have a talk tonight as well.
Yes, it's an intimate, small thing. No cameras, nothing. I hope you guys go get tickets. They're still available. It's in room 14.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
I don't know, but one of the
John
awesome
will be
people at Wizard
streaking.
World can help you out with that
You're
information.
going to want to see it. It's a freaking blast. And we do stuff we never do.
And you guys will be here throughout the weekend, meeting fans, doing photo ops, signing stuff, all that awesome stuff. Wizard World, thank you so much.
Thanks,
This is
guys.
the Crazy Panel. Make a lot of noise. This is the Todd Bubber. It's the Todd